Everybody, it's me, your girl Kiki again. Like, share, subscribe, comment below, down there. Uh, like I said, when you like and share my video, it adds to the algorithm. When you watch my video, it adds to the algorithm. It gets my video out there. If you are exjw, you want to hear more videos like this, go ahead and leave your comments. I don't care if you say bad things, good things. I'm a big girl. I can take it. Somebody was in my other video said they didn't like my blue lipstick. Honey, I wear lipstick all different colors. Like, I'm not a makeup person. This is all like, smoke and mirrors. My normal day-to-day life is like basketball shorts and t-shirts. Like, I just get on here because I'm trying to look cute for y'all, and I'm sweating like a pig because I have no AC in my house. I have to turn the fan off so I can do this video so y'all can hear me. I'm going through some things right now for y'all. But this is going to be my conclusion. I'll probably do more videos because it's a lot. In my last video, I talk about me leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses, getting baptized, fading away, then there are things that went in the congregation with people I know that I didn't really particularly like. There are research I did about religion, and with the internet being introduced and stuff like that, things have changed. So it's been many years. I've led a lot of life. I've been married. I've had kids. I've lost my husband. There are a lot of things that have happened in my life. Like I said, when I left the Jehovah's Witnesses, I was like 25 years old. I'm way older than that. I'm about to be 45, okay? So that was like literally 20 years ago, right? So I've lived a whole life. There was no hard feelings, nothing like that. Let's fast forward to 2014. I started hearing things on the internet and on the news about a commission, Australian commission, Jehovah's Witnesses, sex abuse. Now, I know a lot about the Catholic Church and what they did, and I just read a lot, and I hung my head like tis, tis, tis. I was like, Lord have mercy, they doing to these kids, these priests. So I started hearing things about 2014, 2015 about witnesses, about Jehovah's Witnesses, about something. So I was like, it's probably much to do about nothing. But then I started hearing more. So I looked up something. I watched a video. It wasn't on YouTube, but it was on the news or something. It may have been on YouTube, but I watched it for like 10 minutes just to see. I was like, what's going on? Because I'm like, surely, even though I'm not a witness and not religious, I was like, surely Jehovah's Witnesses don't have any issue with child abuse. Like, they were on that heavily. I remember when the child abuse scandals came out with the Catholic Church. They were on that like, this can't have happen in our organization, yada, yada, yada. So I looked it up, and then I was reading some things and watched a video, and it talked about some girl was abused by her father or by another man there. So in my mind, I switched off because I'm like, that's different than the Catholics. The Catholics, the priests were doing it. And I was like, well, how are you going to get mad at the Jehovah's Witness organization for something that somebody's dad did just because they're a witness? I didn't really vibe with that. I'm like, okay, how are you going to drag the organization for filth when it's somebody's dad or somebody's uncle or another brother in the congregation? I'm like, okay, in my mind, I felt like as long as it's not the elders doing it or the governing body or minister, like somebody who's in charge of the congregation doing it, then I felt like it was terrible, it was tragic, it was sad, but I felt like the organization shouldn't be dragged through the mud because there are members out there who were doing bad things to children. I thought that they should be prosecuted, and I read some article, I forgot who the name was, but this person was in jail, and I'm like, okay, so what's the big deal? I thought it wasn't much to do about nothing. It was a witch hunt against the Jehovah's Witnesses in other countries, because I know the other countries don't like the witnesses. So I kind of switched it off. Fast forward, pandemic, last year. I'm just going through stuff. Netflix, of course, because I have nothing else better to do. Scientology. I've watched many videos on Scientology. So, Leah Remini, if I'm mispronouncing her name, she does this whole Netflix thing about exposing Scientologists. So me and my mom, we watched the whole thing, and I was like, too bad. And then, sorry y'all. And then I watched that like last year, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Then a couple months ago, Not a couple of months ago, a couple of months after that, last year, I learned that she did a special on the Jehovah's Witnesses. I said, say what? There was a special about the Jehovah's Witnesses. I said, I was like, I ain't watching that. Because still in my mind, even though I've been out the organization for 20 years, I thought Witnesses was all right. I thought they was an up and up. And I was like, is this about the same thing about somebody's dad molesting them or whatever. And I was like, I don't want to hear that. But then, like, I went online, I read a synopsis, and I'm like, wait, a cover up, a database, what? So I was like, let me watch this documentary. There's another one called Disfellowshipped, I think. So I watched the Lisa Remini one, and then I was sitting there like this. Okay, come on, what y'all got to say? I watched the whole thing twice. I was in shock. The things that people were saying, I was in shock. So I was like, okay, I got to do more research. I just can't take a Netflix documentary. So I went and watched the Amazon documentary, Disfellowship. I watched that and I was like, what? I was in shock. So I remember, I don't know, on that documentary, one of them had Lloyd Evans on it. John Cedar, Lloyd Evans, Jehovah's Witness Survey.org or .com, whatever it is. So I looked up John Cedars and I started to look at his videos. He's otherwise known as Lloyd Evans. If you're in the exjw community on YouTube, you know who he is. I went back and watched one of his videos talking about the documentaries that came out. And I mean, my mouth hit the floor. I sat there all night and watched for days. And I think I've almost watched all of his videos going back years. And then I started watching other videos, but I really watched Lloyd Evans, a lot of his stuff. I was in shock. If you have not looked up anything about Jehovah's Witnesses and the child abuse scandals and stuff like that, people being abused by their family members who are Jehovah's Witnesses, that's one thing. But there were elders who were doing things. And then the thing that shocked me was the alleged cover-up, the investigations, the arrests in different places, Montana, I think Arkansas, Arizona, other places where these things were going on, and then people were told not to call the cops. I nearly fell off my bed. Like, I nearly fell off my bed. I was like, wait a minute. So if somebody gets abused, they gonna bring reproach on Jehovah's name? Like, I had no idea that was the standard, the written down governance of how to deal with it. There had to be there's a 2-witness rule. No idea there was a 2-witness rule. No clue. I was Jehovah's Witness off and on, probably altogether about 8 years. I had no idea that this was going on. Then my mind started to go and things started to make sense. Like, I started thinking about people that I knew and things that happened and their behavior. And again, I'm not the most obvious. I'm not a nosy person. I'm not in other people's business. I don't gossip about people. People come to me and gossip about other people. I just be like, I don't want to hear that. That's how I was when I was in the congregations. I didn't want to hear it. I mean, I don't gossip about people. I don't want people gossiping about me. So I don't. And then a lot of times, if it had nothing to do with me, does it have anything to do with me? No, I didn't really care. I didn't care to gossip. I was in shock. Some of the things that I've heard. So over the past year, I've been doing lots of research. Reddit sites, Facebook sites, exjw community. And, everybody's experiences varies. A lot of our experiences have similar threads. And again, my time as a Jehovah's Witness and my disagreement with them was purely scriptural speaking, was purely religious speaking. I don't believe in religion anymore. I don't believe in their religion anymore, any religion really anymore. I consider myself a earth spiritualist. I consider myself someone who believes in the power of me being a divine being, me being able to control my life and having free will, yes, but then also that I really believe in the power of nature, of the earth, the spirit, the old ways. And so I went back to the old ways. And but I would never hate on anyone who's Christian, who believes whatever they want to believe, as long as they're not hurting other people. But people would say Jehovah's Witness was a cult. I didn't see it as a cult. until people started explaining to me what a cult really was. I thought cult means, I was like, of course they're not a cult. You can leave anytime. I never known about the shunning. Like, I knew some of that went on where people had kids that didn't want to be witnesses anymore. I never knew anybody who kicked out their child, but I didn't know many witnesses who were young who left. I personally didn't know. I'm sure there were some, but I personally never knew that. I knew that you couldn't hang around people who were disfellowshipped or disassociated, that if I did leave, then the friends that I have, they wouldn't talk to me anymore. I knew that kind of went on. But for somebody who didn't have family in the religion, it really didn't dawn on me how people were losing their entire families. Like, I knew this was happening, but because that wasn't my reality, I selfishly didn't really put too much thought into it, because I'm like, I could leave at any time. I could leave at any time. So I was like, of course it's not a cult. Cult means you being locked up in a compound somewhere. I'm thinking of Branch Davidians. Like, I was thinking of Amish. Like, I wasn't thinking like it's a cult as in it's a high control religious group. Yes, there's rules. You couldn't have sex before marriage. You can't associate people outside. But I thought that was all in protecting the religion and protecting the person. Because in my mind, I was like, as a witness, why would you want to associate with somebody outside of who wasn't a witness? Why would you want to Because to me, there's a conflict. There's a conflict of interest, even in my own mind to this day. There is a conflict of interest on being a witness and having a friend who is not a witness. Because to me, the lifestyle of a Jehovah's Witness is so intensely on the Bible and the meetings and stuff like that. I'm like, how could you actually have like a friend who was outside of that, who would be willing to even be your friend? Because I'm like, what would you have in common with them, really? Because pretty much for all the witnesses, the thread of commonality is the religion. That's really what you're friends with. You really never really get to know people because it's all about attending meeting together. So I'm not saying that people don't have genuine friendships. They do. But a lot of complaints I've heard from a lot of ex-witnesses is the fact that, friends that they thought that they had were friends, really they realized they didn't really know them. Or even they got married to people that they realized that the only thing they had in common is that they were going to the meetings and they belonged to the same religion. But really on a personal level, they had no commonality. But on a spiritual level, they had a lot of commonality. So I'm still learning about the shunning, which shunning means cutting off your family, you're cutting off a family member or a friend or person who doesn't agree with the religion anymore, who doesn't want to be a part of it anymore. You just stop talking to them. I know people in the congregation that still talk to their disassociated family members and friends. I mean, they didn't talk to them all the time. They weren't caught like hanging out with them or anything. But I know some who did. But I did know some who just cut off their family member or whatever. But the stories that we were told was they was wilding out, that they were out drinking and doing drugs and I was like, okay, I got some crackhead family members. I wouldn't want to associate with them either. They drinking and drugging and wilding out and stealing from me. But now I'm thinking, was that stuff even true? Like, was their daughter really wilding out after she left the witnesses? That may not even been true. That may have been something they just told people. But again, it wasn't my business. So I didn't really ask no questions. So, and again, it didn't affect me because I felt like I could leave it at any time because my social investment in the witnesses wasn't as high as other people. Now I'm starting to understand what other people are going through. And it is heartbreaking to me because I know witnesses are good people. But then I think, well, are they good people? Or they were just being nice to me? But I really think that they were I want to think that they were being nice to me. But I don't know. I kind of give it a side eye now. Like, I don't know. But to learn the things I learned about the systematic abuse, about people, not even just the abuse, people being disfellowshipped over things that weren't really their fault, about people asking to keep secrets about their abuse, asking people's parents, telling their kids not to report it, not to say anything to the brothers. I mean, I'm like, what? Like, people pretty much sacrificing their kids on the altar of the watchtower because they don't want to bring reproach on Jehovah. They don't want, I don't, again, I never really, I understand the reasonings behind it, but my mind, still don't fully understand. I understand there's a 2 witness rule and then they've kind of altered that, but I still don't understand the way that they handle things. Why is that handled the way that it's handled? I don't understand that if you do something, a sin that's immoral, like a sexual sin, like I said, I'm not saying child abuse or anything like that. Like if you watch pornography or something, or you masturbate or something, or make out with a girl or something, and then you come to the elders, and what I've been told is that you have to like detail like what you've done, what you didn't do. Did you orgasm? Did you not orgasm? Why? I'm confused as to why that line of questioning is allowed, and why is that, like, whose idea was it to be like, we need to interrogate this person. We need to interrogate this person to figure out, what are they telling the truth or not, or to the extent of the sin that they did. I don't understand the reasoning behind. I wish somebody would really explain to me, like, what is the reasoning behind that? What is the reasoning in not calling the police? Like, if somebody's abusing a child and they work somewhere and they're living in a neighborhood, it's like they don't care about the worldly children that may be abused. And to me, that's not a loving thing. You know, I don't see any love in that. So I don't know. Like I said, I have some real just questions about why things are done the way that they are done, and who started these rules and how long ago they've been in place. I haven't really had like a really concrete answer as to how long these rules have been in place and by who and when. I just don't get it. Like I don't understand why you're not, as an religious organization, trying to protect children and trying to get rid of people who are hurting people, but then you disfellowship people who have sex outside of marriage and stuff like that, but then you forgive people who are a pedophile. Like I don't understand the idea of forgiving people like that. To me, there has to be something that I'm missing. There has to be some kind of catch 22, 23. There has to be something that I'm missing in all of this. I feel like there's something unspoken or unsaid that we're missing. And I like I said, I do a lot of research and watch a lot of videos because I'm trying to really figure out why you would have your religion be investigated by governments, why you would lose members, you would be sued by these people. All to what? To protect the religion's reputation. But to me, that's not a good answer, because the reputation would be protected if you would get rid of these people. Why? I don't understand the rationale why we got to keep these people around. That's what I'm not understanding. So if you got any comments, you got any reason or rationale as to why this is allowed to stand, like I said, to me it makes no sense, because in my mind, if I'm running an organization and some people are fucking it up, I want you gone. Like, you are causing us to be sued. You are causing us to be in the news. You are causing the feds to be all up in our business. You got to go. I'm not about to, or these men, not one person, but I'm like, they got to go. We got to change the rules. I would be like, we got to change the rules. I'm trying to preserve the integrity of Jehovah and your religion. I would think that the religion and God would be bigger than these people. I mean, I would think that the protecting your worshipers would be more of a priority than it is. And again, I'm trying to situate my camera. It keeps going yellow, but I'm just not understanding. And I'm just not understanding. Is forgiving somebody that important? But it's not, though, because shun people and other people disfellowship for severely less than that. They act like they're the plague. Like, if they try to get back in the congregation, they treat them like boo-boo. So I'm just like, there has to be something else to this that I'm not missing. I cannot see why an organization would do so much to protect people. I mean, other than lawsuits, but you could nip the lawsuit in the bud by getting rid of these people. But and these people who aren't elders, who aren't ministerial, who's not governing body, who's not circuit overseers. Now, I can understand a religion trying to protect priests and all that. I mean, I get it. I don't get it. I don't agree with it. But then I understand, because you have a whole priesthood that's doing a bunch of stuff. So I get that. But protecting average lay people who are abusing children, Men who beat their wife. Why? Like, why? They have no leadership sometimes in the congregations. They're just a member. They're not a ministerial servant or elder. And even if they are elder, you have a body of elders. Get rid of that one, put another one in there. Then I would feel like you would try to protect your organization from being sued or look bad upon, and people, and then we live in an information age where you can just get online and look this stuff up. So I don't understand. Like I said, I'm learning more things. I'm doing more research. I'm going to do more videos about this. But the shunning thing really shocked me. The disfellowshipping people for certain things, and then other people weren't disfellowshipped for certain things. I had no idea that was going on either. People have talked about that. The marriage thing has always been messed up, about people marrying early, people getting baptized too early. I've seen some of that. But the biggest shock to me is the shunning and the child abuse. That really hurt my core. I was like, whoa, I'm starting to see them in a whole new light. And then I started researching things and realizing that maybe this isn't the organization that I thought it was. I feel like a lot of times that I was duped, that I was hoodwinked. These people, I'm like, were they just being nice to me, trying to, what they call love bombing me? Was it just fakeness, or was it real? I have to come to terms with that within myself. But I'm learning, and I'm hearing, like I said, a lot of horror stories from people. And I think the shunning thing is so hurtful and so terrible. And I understand why the witnesses, I get why they do that, because they're trying to isolate you so bad to where you just want to come back. But who wants somebody to come back to a religion where they don't really get it? I didn't know about POMI and PMO, physically in, mentally out, physically out, mentally in, physically in, mentally in. I didn't know about POMO, PMI, all these terms. I learned about all that. That explained a lot of things. There are some people that I kind of knew that just kind of went along with the motions. I could see that they did not have any kind of zeal for the religion, that they had been in the religion for so long, that they were second generation, third generation. I could just see them going along with the motions. I had no idea about the homosexuality, about people going to Bethel and being gay, Pillowgate. I didn't know about any of that. So that's just my conclusion. Like I said, I may do more videos. We'll talk about more things. But that's about it. I'm sweating in here. Like I said, with no AC, I'm sweating for y'all. I'm moist, sweating. Anyway, but that's about it. That's my conclusion. I'll be back with more stuff later. Y'all just like, share, subscribe, comment, and y'all have a good Saturday. Bye.